Good morning. My name is Jacqueline Karras, and on behalf of First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, Delaware, I'm delighted to welcome you to our worship service. Warm greetings to all here in the sanctuary and all who are streaming online. We are a welcoming congregation. Our hope and our intent is to extend safety and acceptance here. No matter who you are, no matter your beautiful human complexity, and importantly, wherever you find yourself on your spiritual journey. If you are new to First U and would like to learn more about this church, upcoming services, or events, please check out our website at firstuuwilm.org. For those in the sanctuary, we hope you will stay for our coffee hour. And if attending online, feel free to use the chat function to request church information. An announcement for today. This afternoon at 2 o'clock, the adult and children's choirs will be presenting a concert, Songs and Sundays. We hope people will join us for music, followed by ice cream. This morning, we're fortunate to welcome guest minister Reverend Laura Randall. Laura is the Director for Congregation Relations at UUSC, our Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. She facilitates partnerships to strengthen the impact of the UU Service Committee and the social justice reach of UU communities. Prior to joining UUSC, Laura's ministry included serving as the Legacy Campaign Director for the Unitarian Universalist Association and hospice chaplaincy. She lives in Medford, Massachusetts, with her spouse and 2 dogs. In her sermon this morning, Laura will bring us up to date on how UUSC is advancing human rights around the world. The timing is ideal, as today marks the beginning of the Guest at Your Table program, which provides an opportunity for us to support the significant and important work of UUSC. Welcome, Reverend Laura Randall. Thank you for leading our service today and helping us kick off the Guest at Your Table program. And now, let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship.
Our call to worship this morning is by Reverend Sarah Lawal. Out of the flames of fear, we rise with courage of our deepest convictions to stand for justice, inclusion, and peace. Out of the flames of scrutiny, we rise to proclaim our faith with a hope to heal a fractured and hurting world. Out of the flames of doubt, we rise to embrace the mystery, wonder, and awe of all there is and all there is yet to be. Out of the flames of hate, we rise with the force of love that celebrates our shared humanity. Out of the flames we rise.
If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to join me by lighting it as I read these words adapted by Reverend Audette Folson. This light that we kindle is the lamp of our history. Let us be worthy inheritors of this faith, and through our good works, pass it boldly to a new generation. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn 1007, There's a River Flowing in My Soul. And following the hymn, please remain standing to affirm our mission.
Before we start, the screen is not going to be able to show right now. So, all right, I was waiting on it. You going to be there now? Okay, I'm getting ready to tell you what the words were in case we need it. All right, sorry. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my heart, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my heart. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing in my mind, and it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my mind. There's a river flowing. There's a river flowing. There's a river flowing in my soul.
That was lively, thank you. Please join me in affirming our mission. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action.
Friends, I ask you to take a deep breath, settle into your bodies, and join me in a moment of prayer and reflection. Today we hold in our hearts the many victims of state violence and persecution the world over. We hold those living in the Middle East in fear, and we hold the people of Gaza facing bombardment and starvation in this moment. We hold the Rohingya people of Burma, long the targets of genocide by the Burmese military. We hold the people of Ukraine, battling still against the Russian invasion. We hold our trans and gender expansive beloveds here in the United States who are being forced to flee their homes in some states as ever-increasing repressive laws make it unsafe to remain. We hold all of those, known and unknown to us, suffering today all those yearning for liberation. In this moment of incredible tension, strife, and grief, we lift up the love that is the center of our faith. A love that embraces each and every person, a love that touches all of creation, a love that calls us on toward another possible world, even in the bleakest of times. In this spirit, I offer these words by the Reverend Drew Patton. If they ever ask you, which side are you on? Tell them plainly, I side with the people, with the precious ones, all, the integral, the soft and the fierce, irreplaceable, the beloved, if only by God and trees, who were born, who breathe and survive. Say, I side with those who keep watch beneath the bright screaming arc of bombs, with those who hide in dark doorways or who through the moonlight flee, with those who stay and fight, with those who are kept up all night by hunger and grief and terror and rage, by desperate, unruly hope, who are good and green at the root, who are more than the worst thing they've ever done, who do their best to love and still pass on the hurt in themselves that they hate. But what when they take sides against each other, the people, even against themselves? Side with whatever is human in them, what is fragile and feeling and flesh. Side with the truth of our stories. Side with the fact of our pain. Side with defiant insistence on freedom. Side there again and again. Side there today and tomorrow. Side there the rest of your life. Side there together until we belong, each one to every other. If they ever ask you, which side are you on? Say, it doesn't work like that. Tell them you side with the people and abide where the people are at. Let us be held together in several moments of silence. Amen. Each week when we gather together, we attend to the concerns for ourselves, for our loved ones, for our world that we're holding in our hearts. Take a moment now to listen to what you are holding in your own heart. And if you wish to do so, you may speak these concerns aloud in this room, or if you're online, please write them in the chat. I invite you to share now. we hold these precious names, these holy concerns, spoken and unspoken, that all people may find peace and healing on this day. Our reading this morning is a poem by the Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto. The poem is called "To the People Who've Mistaken Freedom for Liberation." To be free, you must embrace the breadth of your own existence without apology, even if they try to take it from you. You must know not that you can do whatever you want. You are not kudzu vine, eating entire hillsides for the purpose of feeding your own lush life. You must know instead that inside you are entire universes, milky blue, magenta, and gold, expanding. But to be actually free, you must know and you must fight for the entire universes inside of everyone else. Being free is not a license, but a promise. Friends, it is so good to be with you again today. What a lovely autumn tradition it has become to worship and celebrate the start of the Guest at Your Table season. Thank you to Doyle and to Beverly for the invitation, to Larry for your collegiality, to the talented worship team, to the members of the asylum seeker accompaniment team, and to all the many, many UUSC members who call First Unitarian Wilmington home. This congregation is truly one of our most committed partners in the fight for human rights around the world. UUSC, known as its founding in 1940 as the Unitarian Service Committee, has always depended on the generosity and vision of UU congregations. And in a very tangible way, the values of the UU Service Committee are at the center of our congregations. Let me explain that. We are a vibrant and living faith, one that brings together a beautiful motley crew of people who are drawn together not because we all believe the same things, but because we all long for a world in which everyone belongs. Everyone is free to live lives of peace and contentment. We share a commitment to always be learning about and celebrating the incredible diversity of the human planet and the earth we share. More than 100 years ago, Louis Fisher, dean of the Rider Divinity School in Chicago, famously said, "Universalists are often asked where they stand. The only true answer to this question is that we do not stand at all, we move. If you travel around the country visiting UU congregations, as I have the privilege of doing, you will notice that each UU congregation is unique. The elements of the service, the configuration of the sanctuary, the special vibe of the community, all different everywhere you go. However, there's one thing that solidly connects all Unitarian Universalists. In every single congregation, there is a chalice, and the chalice is lit at the beginning of worship. It is the chalice itself, the very thing that binds all UUs together, that most strongly calls us to the work of resisting oppressive systems, such as racism, sexism, and fascism, promoting human rights for all people, and caring for the precious earth we share. Our chalice, as sacred as it is to us, wasn't always the symbol of Unitarian and Universalist faiths. In 1940, Reverend Dr. Charles Rynne-Joy was sent by the newly created Unitarian Service Committee to Lisbon, Portugal, which was the only open port in Europe at the time, and was the preferred port for many refugees who were fleeing the Nazi regime. Many of the refugees had to flee without any identification papers that were required to cross borders. So Joy decided to start making identification papers issued by the UUSC itself. This was uncharted waters, but instead of focusing on the risks that he and the organization might be taking by doing this, Joy focused instead on saving the lives of those who were fleeing fascism. He also decided that these papers needed a seal to look as official as other travel papers. So he asked Hans Dusch, an Austrian refugee and artist working in Lisbon, to create one. And the result was the basis of the flaming chalice that we know now. While this was happening, Waitstill and Martha Sharp were also sent to Europe by USC. They not only falsified documents to get people out, but they also laundered money when necessary. It's another cool sermon. I'll preach another time. So you see, the thing that binds us all as Unitarian Universalists together, the chalice, was founded on our commitment to human rights and to fighting fascism. Since the founding of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, we've been committed to supporting the work of liberation, even when, maybe especially when, it involves making holy trouble for the powers that would deny anyone their full humanity. In the poem that I read by Reverend Julian Soto, Reverend Soto tells us that liberation is a kind of freedom that celebrates the utterly unique and precious life that is embodied in you and honors the utterly unique and precious life that is embodied in each and every other person. But to be actually free, Reverend Soto writes, you must know and you must fight for entire universes inside everyone else. Being free is not a license, but a promise. It is this promise that I want to talk about today, because this promise of liberation is being threatened in so many parts of the world by the menace of fascism. In the 2023 Barry essay, Reverend Cecilia Kingman describes the 10 tactics of fascism from the work of Jason Stanley, including the targeting of the poor as the most vulnerable part, and is part of creating an enemy, which the authoritarian leader can then target and punish. Those familiar with the tactics of fascism, tactics that include things like glorification of a mythic past, the reliance on unfounded fear to institute restrictive law and order, and the supremacy of white, male, and able-bodied hierarchy can recognize that these forces are at work around the world and in the United States right now. We often say that we're in difficult times, Let's focus on that question for a moment. What times are we in now? Reverend Kingman frames the answer this way. We all know that we are in a moment of grave danger. If anyone is left wondering how bad it is very, very bad. It's alarmingly easy for us, however, to grow acclimated and numb unless we pay rigorous attention to the strategies and timelines used by fascists. Whew. Take a breath with me. It's a lot to hold. This is hard stuff. So what will our response be? How can we resist these forces? How can we use the power of imagination to imagine action that can lead to different and better futures? UUSC's grassroots partners are imagining better futures and working for them with all their might in pursuit of liberation. Getting to know the stories of the partners we highlight during the Guest at Your Table program each year offers us a chance to extend hospitality in a way we don't often consider. It's an opportunity to open our hearts, to reach beyond ourselves, to marshal our resources, to be free to love and share and together create new possibilities. Let's meet some of these partners, shall we? The Unitarian Universalist Service Committee partners with the Foundation for Justice and the Democratic Rule of Law, or FJED, in Mexico City for the express purpose of supporting human rights and democracy, which includes accompanying individuals, communities, families, and all of those who've been impacted by human rights violations. FJED's executive director, Ana Lorenda de Gallio, says of their mission, we want to combat regional agreements that violate the right of people to migrate, that violate the right of people to request asylum, that violate the work of migrants to live without violence, to violate the rights of migrants to achieve justice and reparations. To that end, FJED labors extensively to search for the disappeared migrants, which includes defending cases in court and following up on these human rights violations. Anna states that in this work, UUSC has felt like family. We feel less alone, and we also feel strengthened. You, my friends, through your support of Guest at Your Table, are a part of this family, a part of this strength. Do you ever feel like the world is too broken for you to affect it? The problems are too deep, the corruption too rotten. Sometimes your resistance to things going wrong in the world needs only that you get to be your complete self. And what about others? Our trans and queer beloveds in their communities? Can they be themselves? This is a crucial question right now for Unitarian Universalists confronting fascism and for all lovers and workers for human rights. The answers are as simple as doing what you know, loving who you love, and loving those you may not understand yet. The United Nations Human Rights Office of the High Commissioner makes it plain that gender expression of trans people is part of their human rights. They say these words: at the root of acts of violence and discrimination, including lack of access to gender recognition by the state and violence in healthcare settings, lies the intent to punish based on preconceived notions of what the victim's gender identity should be, with a binary understanding of what constitutes male and female, or the masculine and the feminine. These acts are invariably the manifestation of deeply entrenched stigma and prejudice, irrational hatred, and a form of gender-based violence, driven by the intention to punish those seen as defying gender norms. One of UUSC's many acts of solidarity with our trans kin is partnering with Queersvit. Since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, more than 62,000 people have died. Nearly 60,000 have been injured, and roughly 14 million have been displaced. What follows is that racism, homophobia, and trans antagonism impact which evacuees receive help when they're escaping danger. Two Black non-binary people came together to found Queersvit. Their aim is to assist BIPOC and LGBTQ+ people impacted by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Queersvit provides evacuation, temporary housing, and relocation support, along with legal support and physical and mental health resources. Queersvit's co-founder, Anna Maria Titzve, says that they are working for a world in which there is no homophobia, transphobia, racism, or sexism. About the partnership between Queersvit and UUSC, Anna Maria says, UUSC took a chance on us and recognized the potential of our work. Our partnership with UUSC has been transformative. Our organization is sustainable, allowing us to continue our mission, which is to empower marginalized communities by providing opportunities to voice their concerns and needs. The mission of the National TPS Alliance is much the same. TPS here stands for Temporary Protected Status, which is an immigration status granted to some people who come from countries where they're unable to safely return due to conditions like armed conflict or environmental disaster or epidemic. The benefits of TPS include protection from being deported or removed from the United States, legal authorization to work, and authorization to travel. All of these things demonstrate the value of human lives, even in migration. Reverend Kingman explains that fascist propaganda makes a distinction between friends and enemies. It casts the other as a threat and presents the idea that these others are fundamentally opposed to the nation. We hear many fascists now vilifying migrants and asylum seekers as these others, as a threat to our nation. In this way, the Trump administration moved to radically scale back the TPS program and cancel TPS for hundreds of thousands of immigrants. In some cases, parents who had been here for decades, who suddenly had their TPS status revoked, faced the devastating choice of leaving their U.S. citizen children behind with friends, or taking them back to a dangerous country their children had never known. The TPS Alliance works to change that by restoring TPS protections and securing a path to permanent residency for all TPS holders. Lydia Palma, National Coordinator for TPS Alliance, said that they are pursuing liberation by building collective power among TPS holders to fight harder to achieve social justice for immigrant populations. Speaking about our partnership, Lydia says, our connection with UUSC has been a very special and important collaboration for us. All of UUSC's partners are engaged in powerful acts of resistance to forces that would deny people their full humanity. We at UUSC, and by extension all of us gathered here, are committed to these acts of resistance as well. Just as our spiritual ancestors were at the founding of UUSC, when the image of the flaming chalice was created to symbolize courage, resilience, defiance, and yes, joy. One aspect of resistance that is sometimes overlooked as frivolous when it is actually critical is joy. May we encounter joy in the beauty and the delight of being of service. May we cultivate joy by embodying our deepest values, a beautiful feast at a bountiful table. Give to guests at your table because it will bring about the world we long to experience. Because human rights are for all humans. Let us close today by reflecting on the possibilities offered by Robert F. Kennedy in his prayer for our country. He said, "Let no one be discouraged by the belief that there is nothing one person can do against the enormous array of the world's ills, misery, ignorance, and violence. Few will have the greatness to bend history, but each of us can work to change a small portion of events. And in the total, all of those acts will be written in the history of a generation. It is from numberless, diverse acts of courage and belief that human history is shaped. Each time people stand up for an ideal or act to improve the lot of others or strike out against injustice, they send a tiny ripple of hope. Crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples can build a current that can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression. So may we live, friends. Amen. Blessed be.
Our stewardship moment will be presented by our friend and fellow church member, Doyle Dobbins. Doyle is the chairperson of our local UUSC committee. Doyle, come on up.
Good morning. You can hear me okay? Too loud? Too soft? Okay. Well, it's good to see you all. And I know that there are a lot of people, hopefully they're watching online at home because the congregation seems a bit smaller this morning, but I'm certainly glad that you're all here. And I just want to take a moment. I thought I would see some Phillies shirts today. Didn't they win last night? Yeah. Wahoo! Hey, we got one. One person with a cap. And I see we have one person with an Eagles shirt. Now, you know, this is a good time for the Phillies and the Eagles. They're winning. Isn't that neat? I think it's great. And this is also a good time for guests at your table. And we're going to take a few minutes to talk about that. And we begin, Laura has a presentation to make.
Maybe you're thinking, didn't she just make one? I am here because I am so pleased to announce that First UU of Wilmington is UUSC's 2023 Congregation of the Year. Give yourselves a hand, yes. As I mentioned at the beginning of my sermon, First UU Wilmington has been a steadfast and generous supporter of UUSC for so many years. And here are some of the ways. You have several services dedicated to sharing the work of UUSC each year, and you're enthusiastic participants in the Guest at Your Table program. And as far as I know, you're the only congregation that's recruited honeybees to be part of your efforts fighting for human rights. That's right. So this relationship between UUSC and First UU is a strong one, which is why when a social service agency reached out to our Congregational Accompaniment Program for Asylum Seekers, or CAPAS program, earlier this year to see if we knew any people in Wilmington who might be able to assist an asylum seeker from Tanzania and her young child stay in the area so that this child could receive needed ongoing medical care from Children's Hospital, we were able to say, we know just the people. First, UU Wilmington did not hesitate to say yes to this request, becoming our newest CAPAS congregation. CAPAS congregations sponsor asylum seekers as a community for a year or more, assisting with housing, transportation, navigating medical and school systems, and offering neighborly welcome. This form of solidarity is a form of resistance to our government's xenophobic immigration policies. Participation in the CAPAS program is one of the many ways that we live our UU values in the world, and we are so grateful, but not at all surprised that First UU Wilmington joined us in this journey. So we're very honored to present this certificate to First UU as UUSC's 2023 Congregation of the Year. We're so honored to be continuing this justice journey with you, friends. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura. And I'm really pleased to accept this award, this certificate, on behalf of our congregation. As many of you know, maybe most of you know, I've been very involved in UUSC. It has 3 names, by the way. UUSC is the most common. The Service Committee is the next most common. And the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee is the real name, but less common. So if you hear any 3 of these, it's all the same organization. And I'm delighted that we're receiving this award for a number of reasons. Number one, it recognizes who we are and what we stand for. And you may remember in our mission statement, which we say every Sunday, it talks about fighting injustice. And that's what UUSC is all about also, fighting injustice. Now, this award recognizes not only who we are, but that we have a reputation. Now, I guess I'll tie in with the Phillies and the Eagles a little bit here. They have a reputation too, sometimes not so good. Right now, it's great. We have a reputation because year after year, through Guest at Your Table, we demonstrate that we are willing to promote human rights and social justice around the world. We are in partnership with UUSC doing that. We can't go to Burma or Central America and do what we need to do, but they can. They go on our behalf. So the certificate recognizes that we are in this partnership. And as Laura just pointed out, the CAPAS program, the asylum seeking program, when we heard about this, we went, should we get in? Sure, no question. We jumped right in. And we have a successful CAPAS asylum seeking program because so many of you, and those not here today as well, agreed to support that program. Would you believe that in the short time we've been involved with CAPAS, we have over 60 members who have contributed financially to support that project. And back to guests at your table. Would you believe that we have a lot of members? In fact, I estimate that over half of our active membership gives to UUSC in some way every year. And now, Laura mentioned a couple of ways. Financial giving to these organizations is very important. We need to give to our church because it can't be successful without financial support. We need to give to UUSC because it can't be successful without financial support. Now, how do you give? Well, you give financially, but I'm glad to say that over 40 of you have already given to UUSC by purchasing some of my donated honey. And I wanted to show you my honey socks. Honey is part of my life in all sorts of ways, and we could spend time joking about that. But what I'm saying is, whenever you buy some of my donated honey, you're also supporting UUSC, because that's where the money goes. So keep that in mind. And the bees, the 750,000 bees that I have, they're okay with that too. So, okay, we have this reputation. And every year, as a church, we have a pledge drive to support the church. Well, every year we have the Guests at Your Table program to promote what UUSC is doing and urge you all to give financially to support UUSC. Now, you can do that in many of the same ways that you support the church, by writing a check. And soon you'll be receiving in the mail one of these envelopes, and you can write a check to UUSC, and that gets the job done. Or in the flap, in this little envelope, you can fill this out, and you can give online with a credit card. Or, if you don't like to send things through the mail, just write out a check to UUSC, put it in the church donation basket, and we'll make sure that it gets where it needs to go. So, you can give in many ways, and we have this reputation now. Now, in my mind, we ask the question, okay, we have this reputation. Do we want to maintain it? Well, I think so. And I hope all of you do too. I hope you will keep that in mind as you have the opportunity to give, donate, participate in our partnership with UUSC. There's much more that could be said, but maybe for another time. I would urge you, though, to each week over the next 4 weeks, read the Guests at Your Table article that will be in the church e-news. And there's always a link there where if you use that link, you can give online. The easiest way to give, and I hope you will do that. Okay, let's keep our reputation going. Not only this year, but next year, because human rights and social justice certainly need our support. Okay, let's close our stewardship moment by saying together the offering dedication, and I believe it's on the screen. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives, and these are offerings. Thank you.
Echo
Please join us as we extinguish the chalice with these words by Norman Naylor. Our eyes and minds now turn toward the ordinary, leaving this space made sacred by our presence. Take with you at least some seed of understanding, of hope, of courage, and drop it into the confusion of the world. Nourish the seed that it might grow as a tree of life, giving shelter to the weary and hope to the despairing. Be yourself a branch of the tree of life.
I want to express my gratitude to you all today and offer this benediction. May we recognize the divine when it appears on our thresholds and gladly offer a place at our table. May we look to join with all justice seekers, offering welcome, hospitality, and solidarity. Liberation is not freedom for a few, but the joyful realization of possibility for all. Blessed be, and amen. And I invite you now to join in a musical benediction of sorts as we sing hymn number 151, I Wish I Knew How.
I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all these chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things I could say. Say 'em now, say 'em clear, for the whole world to hear. Say 'em loud, say 'em clear, for the whole world to hear.